what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and we are here for Deep Astrology, your weekly astrology forecast of the week of August the 6th through the 12th of 2019. Thank you for being a part of highvibe.tv. If you've never checked out highvibe.tv, this is where we have an amazing conscious lifestyle spiritual network with tons of awesome free content and subscription-based videos with my daily video horoscopes, my weekly sun sign horoscopes, and many more aspects, and so many other awesome content providers on there, all in this high vibe realm. Check it out, highvibe.tv. That's the way to support this show from being free to you all the time. And of course, this is a show where we go deep into the astrology, we look at the whole entire week, and I channel it, and then we go deep into the charts, which are brought to you by Astro Gold, which you can get on iOS, Android, and you can get it on your MacBook or your iMac or any of your Apple devices. But if you're on PC, check out Solar Fire. And today, believe it or not, I am going to be showing a Solar Fire Helio chart. We're bringing the Helio back for some people because there's some Helio stuff going on. And let's just talk about this overall theme of this week. A lot is shifting. You want to talk about, okay, and we have needed this shift. One thing is, those eclipses that just happened, okay, just in the last couple weeks and over this last month, that was during a time when there was a lot of retrograde energy. Now we got some energy turning on, and we also have Uranus going retrograde. So when you get energy turning on, we have these amazing aspects this week, but we also have some checkpoints to those amazing aspects. The main one, of course, I'm talking about is these Jupiter aspects. We have the Sun and Venus, these really benefic, loving energies, especially in Leo, and the Sun and its dignity to Jupiter, which is stationing this week. That means stopping, where it will come direct on Sunday the 11th, which is going to be like a holy cow moment of moving forward with Jupiter, which is finally we get Jupiter's energy. The trumpets are calling, but to have these two dignified positions in a trine is beautiful, and to get Venus as well. But what's even more interesting to this is we have Saturn, of course, which is still in Capricorn and will be for a while, and it's with the South Node, but Saturn is in its home sign. That means it's in its dignity, and Saturn's at 14 degrees, the Sun is at 14 degrees, and Jupiter's at 14 degrees of their own homes. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment where all these, the big three, what are the biggest three in astrology? The Sun, of course, because it's a star, Jupiter, and then Saturn. The biggest three are all in exact alignment today on Deep Astrology. So, there's a lot to talk about because the three biggest energies are getting us prepared for the world that we are going into. And as I put on my Instagram today, and a lot of people loved it, literally the greatest story ever told. And the one that's written by God, the one that is written by whether or not we are in our true alignment of our true integrity of our heart. And if we have the hope, there's been a lot that's happened. This is potent energy. Whenever you have a lot of this energy in their home signs and in dignity, and when you get the big three in their dignity and aspect, talk about potency. It's a lot like whatever you put out there will just kind of instantly manifest really fast, instantly be there. So it's very important right now to make sure that you're coming from a place of integrity, and that Saturn in quincunx over to the Sun, that in conjunction point is very interesting because it is a point that says we need to put a check on this amazing energy. It's a little bit like, having a little bit of a search before you're into a great concert. Like, you want to make sure that you are making sure the decisions you're making in your life are warranted, and making also sure at the same time that you're not going to use this potent energy to maybe build something that is unfixable, with Uranus going retrograde in Taurus at the end of this week. And let's talk about that. Taurus is ruled by the planet Venus. And here we have Venus in Leo, and it's making its quincunx over to Saturn. It's making its trine to Jupiter. So even when it comes to relationships, projects, money situations, this is a big theme because the Sun and Venus are meeting up throughout this whole week until they make their conjunction point exact at that 21-degree spot, which is next week. So for this whole week, we're going to have the Sun and Venus right on top of each other. But remember, this is different, and I'm going to show you all in the live chart aspects today how this is different than like how we have Venus retrograde, right? Whenever there's Venus retrograde, there's that aspect of like Venus crossing the Sun. This is Venus behind the Sun, okay? So we're on the other side. Venus is the farthest away from Earth that it could be right now, okay? We're on the other sides of the Sun. And so this is a very unique point because one, Venus is disappearing, okay? So this is kind of like a whoa, and this is a moment where it really is bringing those rays of energy through the sun instead of the sun kind of like blasting out Venus so much to where it's like, blah! There's a lot of that with Venus retrogrades. But this is actually a beautiful alignment in Leo with this awesome aspect to Jupiter. And I'm thinking this is an awesome aspect to Saturn. It's just the checkpoint of, okay, what do we need to get done better? And are we really truly living in integrity? And I think with this moon in Scorpio this week, that's potent as well because it's at its fall position. And Scorpio is transformation, it's intensity, it's change. But more importantly, it is, where are we way too connected to? But it also is where we can connect in a very deep way when we know the truth, and that's when we lock it down. And we're going to have this big aspect with the moon squaring the sun and Venus and Mars. There's a big party in Leo going on right now. So this moon in Scorpio is kind of in the middle of a lot of all these dignified energies going like, well, I'm not really dignified here. And the moon is opposing Uranus, which is in Taurus, which is about to go retrograde. And Uranus is in a sign that is at its fall position, Taurus. So when you get the moon in Scorpio and Uranus in Taurus, this is fall points, okay? Because the moon would totally rather be over there in Taurus and Uranus would rather be over in Scorpio. And the reason for that is because Uranus, of course, is exalted in Scorpio because if everybody, the collective, is passionate and is of truth and knows their power, well, you know what? They'll go and move mountains and change the world. But when the moon is in Taurus, guess what? Yeah, it knows its emotional worth. And it knows when to disconnect emotionally because that's not valuable enough or that doesn't feel good or that's not right for our betterment of ourselves. But when you get these flipped, why do you think the world is always so crazy and divisive with countries and stuff with Uranus and Taurus? Because everybody puts their own value first. Like, you know what? I like this better. Or I think this is better. Or I think this political party's better. Or I think a country should be like this. Or I don't like those clothes. So how easy is it for the world to come into this unification process when everybody is fighting and mumbling and undertoning, especially about the most weirdest Uranian value systems? Yeah, I mean, I like it, but I don't like this about that, And that's what happens, though, is that it helps find unification through all of us understanding, well, where's everyone's values at? So when you start freaking out and thinking it's political systems like this Pluto-Saturn illusion and Capricorn, that is with the South Node that makes it the illusion that it's a political party or this party that will save or this party's the problem, you are in the illusion. Because the realness, if you look at the astrology, is that we're in a time where everybody is going up and bringing all their crazy, weird stuff about their values and playing with them and experimenting with them. But that also means in your own personal life, especially because relationships, projects, and money are extreme at this point coming up with this big Sun-Venus aspect with Jupiter and with Saturn and a yod. We're going to talk about the yod too. But before I switch cameras here in a second, I want to tell you all that this is such a big deal because are you going backwards? I've been saying this one a lot, but not only with the way that we had those eclipses with the North Node in Cancer about coming back into our true emotional, true-rooted self, and with that big opposition to the illusion of what we have to hold on to with Pluto and Saturn, right? We have to keep it this way. We have to keep the ship aligned on this direction, even though maybe it's totally against what I feel or what I really feel. And this moon in Scorpio, guess what? Oh, it's bringing out emotional truths to Leo of what the heart really is feeling. So there's a lot of naive energy coming into this week. Like, oh, I fixed that. I'm good. Oh, wait till Uranus comes to its exact stop point and then switches backwards and takes the whole entire electrical system of our nervous system and the universe of unpredictability and starts having fun with Jupiter in its home sign with all the trumpets blaring. And then and we all get spit into these new crazy realities. I'm kind of excited, to be honest with you all. But I think that, you all know I love Sun-Jupiter. I love Sun-Jupiter energy because no matter what, there always is some sort of positive door that always works out, even if it is a crappy situation. But I will say that on this one, there is this checkpoint. And this checkpoint is so important because with how potent things are, with the opportunities that we have to have the courage to see in our heart. Because with Saturn there, it could be very groany, like, well, the world right now is just not looking good. It's out of control. This needs to be fit. This needs to be done. This needs to be done. People need to do this. People need to do that. That'll fix it. Really? That's an illusion of Saturn. That's an illusion that's playing through the media with Neptune sextile over to Saturn and the South Node too. The media on both sides of the aisle are basically trying to say, no, this is the way it has to be. This is the way that'll fix everything. But really, I think it's like, what about our moral truths? What about our moral truths within ourselves? And moral truths don't have anything to do with these unwritten kind of laws that people start to live by, but moral truths come from understanding a responsibility of integrity, of like being honest, being real, like and using your own information, using your own ability to process a beautiful reality and realize that we are in a world of chaos. We are in a world of heaven in the same realms, and it's just floating around in a crazy circle sometimes. And it's about, what do you have the ability in your own self, no matter how chaotic something happens, no matter what horrible thing happens in your life, do you have the ability in yourself to own the responsibility and not play victim? Chiron, remember, is in Aries. It is retrograde, so the ego gets wounded a lot during Chiron in Aries. And of course, it's easy to play a victim mentality or start to create some sort of identity consciousness of, I'm a victim because of this identification of this process and this process, or all these people do this to me, or all these genders do this to me, or whatever it could be. When really the whole truth is within the courage that no matter what has happened, no matter what has been burned out of your life with those eclipses, opposed Pluto and Saturn, a lunar eclipse on Pluto, oh yeah, it gave you a deep truth. And this is the first time that the moon in Scorpio can have its truthful, emotional, hard truth of emotion. When it squares over to this Sun Venus and it squares over to this Mars in Leo, and a yod forms to the Sun Venus, which is the finger of God, is pointing with the South Node and Neptune, or you could use Saturn and Neptune, or you could use all three, towards, bam, that Sun Venus at 17, 18, 19. It's going to be crazy. And then you get it also with Pluto and Neptune and the Sun Venus next week. So we're going to have these yods, plural, because they shift a little bit, pointing at this Sun Venus. God is pointing at, we need to look at love and confidence and courage of self and what feels truthful of love. What is love? It is the knowing 100% of what feels all of you. You, not this whole universal thing. You. God created you to be this unique, beautiful individual, and watch how that form can find within itself and shine its brightest. And when everybody finds that, imagine what the light will look like. I've talked about this one a lot before. But this is the ultimate truth that we are in a moment of deep fate, train fate. Whip, whip. And this Sun Venus, we're going to show you in the charts, man. This is some crazy stuff. Because when it comes to relationships, when it comes to all of our projects, when it comes to money, we are at a red zone. We are at the last call. Now, I talk about that through the eclipses and how the eclipses were this kind of like, you better make sure. God always gives this last little like, okay, well, the bus already left, you're behind, but it's on a cliff. Like, are you going to run off the cliff now and go off the red zone? I'm giving you a last chance where there's a net right below the cliff. When it feels like this isn't an alignment in a project, this isn't an alignment in a relationship, this isn't an alignment in some sort of project or creative, or how you're dealing with your money, or where are you putting your money? Is that really of your heart? Where are you putting your values? What kind of relationships are you bringing in? Are they of the same heart? And I think that this is a very intense point, because we can get really lost with this Saturn-Pluto, especially in the odd, with Neptune. We can be deceived in a weird way. by what our heart thinks it really wants, by actually creating more of an identity created based upon what the world, what even the media, even what this kind of projection of what is not you will attach to. And with the potency of this Jupiter coming direct, and the potency of all these dignified positions, and the potency of the fact that Uranus retrograde in Taurus is anything that's broke cannot be fixed right now. Like, I'm sorry, it's teaching you in the beginning forms of Taurus what is not simple. And I thought about this very, not too long, but I thought about it enough to really come to this conclusion as an astrologer, and I am a predictive horoscope astrologer, as you've known for the last 7.5+ years. That's why you're probably watching this still, that I come through with the predictions every day and every week for 7.5 years. That, why are we playing unsimple situations? Think about that. Now, Taurus is simple. It's like plant the seed and watch it grow. And it might not seem simple to do the work of creating a value system by, we've got to actually dig a hole, and we've got to work through the soil, we've got to put that seed in. But I was watching Jerry Seinfeld the other day, and he was on a show, and he's a Taurus. And I use, and especially being a celebrity astrologer, aside from being the Leo King in this kind of like deeper astrology format, I work in this field of Hollywood and celebrity astrology. And I know some of you all think it's just like pointless. But really, is it? To be able to use as an astrologer the energies of what's happening about people and energies that are being shown to us in this beautiful, weird, creepy, but also got its other weird forms of this projection towards us, of energies and people and situations, to be able to use it as data as an astrologer. So when I look at like a Taurus right now, and I see somebody like Jerry Seinfeld come up, and his whole show was about the stupid things in life that don't make sense. This is what Uranus and Taurus truly is about. And he brought up something really simple, like he went into the studio, and it's a new, like, I think it's a podcast called like The Reason Why Netflix, I don't know, it's some Netflix like against radio or something. Anyway, with only comedians. And he looked in there and he goes, why are you all wearing your headphones? Like, you guys look stupid, and you're just hearing each other talk. We're like right next to each other. And then they ended up taking off the headphones, like, oh, okay. And then they're like, yeah, actually, I can hear you now better. And they're like, well, I think I'd like to hear my own voice. It's like, okay, well, then are you paying attention to the conversation, or are you paying attention to yourself? Like, there's these little things that life is just so simple. But if it's not simple in a place where you're in a project, you're in a relationship, you're in a money situation that's real tight, you got to look really deep at where your heart's putting all that energy right now. And this relationship thing is big because now that the eclipses are over, and it's starting to get close, as we step into September, we get Saturn direct, then we in October get Pluto direct, and they are heading towards their conjunction in January 2020 and ending the cycle that was from 82 and 83 in Libra about relationships. So this cycle we're in right now, people have been wondering, why does this feel so weird at the eclipses? Well, I've been trying to tell people for a long time, hello, this is no joke. The next 6 months will be the craziest 6 months of your life because we are ending a very major Saturn-Pluto cycle right now, and it is coming to conclusions about what we're going to define in relationships. What are you going to do? Are you going to follow the old patriarchy relationship situation and how it is? And I'm not saying that it comes about any sort of rule, but more about like restricting your own self about the truth of what true partnership is, and the feeling of somebody really on the same vibration as me and level and equality of myself? And are we actually a fit or not? But we get too attached with Saturn Pluto to the point to where it becomes like an alien with tentacles, and so I said don't have no alien babies last week, because we can actually project onto ourselves, and we do not live in our true self by ingesting this outer system that is not anything that has anything to do with who we are as a heart, love, and truth, and ingest that and literally form out and create the darkness of this reality. If you think that it is the darkness that is creating darkness, no. It is human forms that are taking on dark entities by not living in their true heart and projecting that out in the world and walking around with it and throwing it on other people. You need to live like this, or you should do that. Nobody is ever anymore allowing people to live from their heart. It's like, you speak too loud, you do this too loud, you're too quiet, you're too this, and everybody just starts going, it's like, like somebody will be like, well, yeah, my relationship, I don't know, this is this. It's like, there's obviously something really wrong here. You're talking about it, you know what I mean? It's like, it's on your mind 24/7, it's on your soul 24/7, it's on your emotions 24/7. Oh, guess what? Saturn-Pluto's exiting a 37-year cycle here. All right, from Libra and going into Capricorn, where it's about really hard choices. And it's going to be very hard for people to disconnect emotionally, but this is where the heaven awaits us, Uranus and Taurus, the real worth. But are you leaving these lower levels because Uranus only shows the high levels of value? If you're not living in your life of the ultimate high level of value, guess what? The universe is going to fucking smack you on the head and smack you again. And the second that you think that you have figured it out, guess what? I guess if you want to become like charbroiled in electricity, well, have fun. Let's see what's up in the charts. I'll keep it low here for a second, Craig. I'll keep it low. Low riding. I was just cruising today when I was cruising to work. It was funny, like there was so much traffic, so I had to go through Inglewood and Compton. And Waze is awesome. And I was like, just like, yeah, and everybody was cruising. And I love Inglewood and Compton because everybody is themselves there. So people are scared of places in the world, like, don't go there. But I was like, you know what? I thought about this as a Leo today, and we're all in this Leo. I'm like, these are just people expressing themselves the way they want to be. I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to find my expression, too. And there was fools like next to me, because I was in the Corvette today, and they were like, yeah, dog. And I'm like, yeah, bro. And like that's the beautiful part of life is like, what's the fear of people or anything or any situation? Like, oh, that's not, and it's like, we have to find a way to find the values to express our heart. And also Uranus and Taurus, I think, teaches a unique value, which is not talked about much, and I haven't talked about it much, but finding a way, okay, that's your value. All right, let me find a way to actually try and understand and figure it out. And let me run my own experiments with it. But so many people right now want instant gratification in life. Like, no, like, I want to know, I already know, or it's like, this is Jupiter and Sag. It's like, we need to be open, we need to explore. And this is a time for when it comes to partnerships, when it's time of money and projects, to explore the beauty in these things truly. And if you're in a situation that is just, Saturn is here either A, fucking you over with this sun. Remember, the sun's enemy is Saturn, okay? It's either fucking you over by saying, like, you know what? I have to hold on to this thing because I have to, and we've worked so hard on it, and there's no love, but you know what? I'm just going to stay, like, And then you're wondering why I don't know how to create a creative project right now. I don't know how to be having fun right now. I don't know how to be doing any of this. I can't even smile. Well, yeah, what do you think you're doing? You are like attached to a fucking energy that all dark energy is holding you from your light. And that's by your own belief systems, and that's by your own way of living this world where it's not true to who you really are. That! I'm going to scare everybody every deep astrology now. I'm just kidding. But Uranus coming, retrograde, right when you think you figured it out. And I love it. I've been hearing so many people lately. Oh my gosh. They've been like, oh yeah, no, I had all these problems and they're all gone now. Like, yeah, I figured it all out. Oh, really? It's always on that week when Uranus is coming retrograde. I figured it all out. Ha ha ha. Especially if it's old situations that were very unfixable. It's like, oh, I think I figured out how to fix this. No, there's going to be a retrograde that's going to show you what the only fixing of Uranus is moving in a new direction forward. Like, scrap that experiment. There's a new theory. That's also Jupiter direct. New theories, new realities, new experiences. But if you're going to hold yourself in Saturn and Pluto's realm and just be in a jail during this last moment of the most beautiful energy for years, because you have to remember that when Mars comes back into Leo 2 years from now, guess what? It's in opposition to Saturn. So it's not going to be its full form. Okay? Like Mars is happy in Leo right now to get our truth out, to get our heart out. It had Saturn squaring it for years. Then it had to go through, 2 years ago with Jupiter square. Like, I mean, come on, people. Let's go to the charts. All right. August 6th. Here we are today. Look at that sun. Beautiful 14 degrees. It's a beautiful sun, and it's a beautiful 14-degree Jupiter. So look at that trine. It's awesome. But there is that element of the quincunx, as Saturn is at 15, coming to 14, and there it is. So bang, okay? Now, that's a weird angle because that's this checkpoint, and especially as this Sun-Venus is going to get even closer, right? As they come into the Yod formation that we're going to start to see. But if you could see all these quincunx aspects here, even Mars just came off the quincunx to Pluto. But here's Mars coming into some clear energy for a while, okay? So Mars is coming, and remember that the star Regulus, which is the lion's heart, the Leo, the royal energy of Leo, is at 006 now, I think, of Virgo. And long story short, because it's every 72 years it moves 1 degree. But this is the royal aspect of Leo all in here that we are coming up to. So are you going to live in your regality? Are you going to live into your ultimate sovereign heart and self? Or are you going to just blow that out the window right now by these dark forces of Saturn, Pluto, and the South Node in Capricorn and be a grandma or grandpa and say, no, 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 not going to live my life and be happy. I'm going to sit in this horrible situation as long as I can and try and figure it out. Because that's the old idea of integrity. The new, reborn, Pluto-Saturn is about a new form of integrity of following our spiritual self. Because with Neptune here at 18 and making this awesome aspect to the South Node and over to Pluto and Saturn, Neptune is trying to say, yeah, you know what? We should come from a place of actually what our true spirit is saying, what the universe is saying, what God's saying. And so a lot of people are going off the old idea of what God is, which has changed many times over. But if you follow the story of all of the stories, of all the myths, from the Bible and beyond to Egyptology to even Mesopotamia to everything, you're going to find a similarity in all of it. But this is about, like, are these laws written from a space that feels pure? That connection to whether you want to call it Jesus or Allah or anywhere that you want to connect to, or to just the creator or the universe, that is a feeling that is undeniable. And there is this judgment that starts to come on ourselves of like, gosh, am I wrong to go feel what I know feels divine and right? That is the ultimate understanding of what Lucifer is and darkness is to not have you look out and question. Lucifer, in my belief, and this might trigger a lot of people, in my belief is all through the Bible in places, wherever it's telling you not to look around and see what's around. That is what a trickster does. A trickster is going to trick you into thinking that the trickster is not a trickster that's actually tricking you in the trick. You know what I mean? Like, no, don't look over here. That's why I did Age of Deception. It was because literally this is a deceiving time. We are at the end of this age of Pisces. We are in the deepness of what happened. Why do you think, if you remember, in September through the end of December of 2016, we had Neptune in the South Node in conjunction. Now look at Neptune is now making the sextile. So it's bringing back up this whole deceptive period where media stuff that's weird, that doesn't make sense, is really about, and they're trying to hold all that together right now in every way with Saturn and Pluto. And then you get this other aspect of like in your own life, it's like, are you going to deceive yourself of this judgment of this old idea of what integrity really is, or this old idea of like, you know, this like kind of like dusting off the old books and the old energy and like wearing like just really old energy and like not expressing yourself? Remember that Neptune's, it's not exact, but that semi-square is still loose with Uranus, and that's what's going to come retrograde this weekend. And that means that these are very confusing and against spirituality, some of these positions that you are trying to hold on to, Taurus, like a hoarder, to fix that are not taking you to higher levels. And we are dealing with this moon opposite Uranus, which is kind of a shock of realizing a truth and whether or not you can break that truth into real truth by letting go of some sort of value system or letting go of some sort of situation in yourself where you're just like, wait, this is not in my divine self. Like, I'm just trying to hold on to it because I think that's divine. Divine and divinity is non-questionable. So we talk about synchronicities, right? We talk about coincidences, people who aren't in the spiritual community. But for us in the spiritual community, a divine synchronistic event is not a question. It is undeniable. So when you're in these places that are truly not in that space, because the truth really is that you're not seeing the synchronicities anymore. You're not seeing the connections. You're not seeing your life thrive into this ultimate, connection with the divine, because you're sitting there trying to fix something that's not working. And that's what this week is going to be highlighting as Uranus is stopped. So as we go to Wednesday now, so the Sun-Jupiter conjunction will have finished, which really in all essence is any doorway is possible. But with Saturn and quincunx, it's like this checkpoint of like, okay, like, is it really possible? Okay, let's just focus on what the mission is that actually is of my true heart. Saturn's trying to work for the Sun, because it knows that no matter how dignified it is, no matter how much Pluto energy there is, no matter how much South Node, Saturn is a winner. He wants to always win. And the one thing that Saturn is realizing with the South Node on it is that it is blind. And the Sun is not blind at all. It never, unless it has the South Node on it, or it has, some of its, counterparts like Saturn in Aquarius in its dignified position oppose it. Like, which by the way was the early 90s, but, and we're coming into that. So you have to realize that there is this moment that Saturn is like, okay, Jupiter and the Sun are best friends. They are bigger than me, and they are in perfect alignment. And Venus is with them, and Venus is a benefic, and she is wanting to have a blast, and she is wanting to love, and she is wanting to have fun. He's realizing that integrity is of, you know what, I lose if I try to hold down this old, saloon that doesn't allow anybody in if you don't wear this, or if you sing, we only play piano here, we won't allow that rap music, we won't allow that house music, we won't allow that rock music. Like, nobody's gonna come into that fucking bar, but believe it or not, so many people are out front with these old belief systems and these old systems saying like, you will go to hell if you don't come into this bar, you will go to this place if you don't come into this bar. And then so everybody goes there and is drinking there, and couples are walking in there and they're like, we are not even in love, but we're supposed to come in here. And then, this is hell. That was great in 1850 through 60, especially in one of my past lives. That was my first past life regression as Trevor. I was hitting the whiskey and playing blackjack all day and going upstairs, you know what I mean? But it was a great time. But in today's world, that kind of life is very, forbidden in many ways, and not to say that I'm trying to advocate it, but I'm trying to say at that time that was like the spot. In today's world, if they were to tell you to do this and be this way, and let's say we can throw a different analogy to it all, but you get the point. Are you being funneled into this room that's not fun? The moon on Wednesday is making big, big squares. It's making that square to Venus, that square to the Sun. So we have that first quarter square in the waxing part of the moon with the Sun and the moon. And this is a battle, but usually, you know, the sun is not happy with the moon in Scorpio, but it is happy now because it's got a lot of ammo, right? It's got Mars, it's got Juno, it's got Venus. And more importantly, it's got Jupiter making great aspects to Venus and the sun, midpoint. And you remember, this is not a Venus retrograde time, as Venus will cross the sun because it's technically not crossing it in front of the sun. So this is a moment where the sun feels truly backed up, 100%. So why would right now, in any time of your life, that's why I'm calling this the red zone. This is where you go for the touchdown for extra 2 points. You don't kick the ball right now and punt if you're going for fourth and goal, okay? I know some people might not know football out there, but there is a very, very interesting aspect to this. There comes points in life, and football is a good analogy here, when fourth and goal. Like if we don't get the ball across the goal line, they get the ball, and that's it. We don't get the ball anymore. And maybe and the clock is all the way down. So if we don't do it right now, and we're down by, let's say, 7, and then we're going to have to go for the extra 2 point, this is where it's like you go for it when it comes to your true heart and what you know. Like the sun feels backed up. It will make it happen. It's got the right running back, the right quarterback. Everybody's ready. And everybody feels it. And everybody, when they ask around, they're like, do you feel it? Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Yeah, I feel it. But then there's these other people who are like, yeah, let's do fourth and goal. And it's like you're looking around and everybody's like, I don't know. I don't really feel it. I don't really feel you really. There's something confusing here. I don't really get all this. Oh, man, you know you're on the wrong team. You better run. Because you know what? Like you better punt that one. And that's the whole part of this Uranus coming retrograde. And that's the whole point of this moon in Scorpio too, is like, is there a connection here? Do we feel it? Do you feel the force? Because when you add Scorpio and you add Leo, you get dynamo all the way. Pluto, sun, bam, life and death. And we are at an edge point. This red zone is edgy. And a lot of people have been wondering, like there was of course we could talk about the mass shootings for just a quick second, and it was a horrible situation, and I just want to put out positive energy there and try and not go too deep into that or get even political, because we're not going to get there today. All I'm saying is this is a very intense, edgy time, including on baseball. There was a major fight recently, like with a pitcher who just dodged the freaking dugout, like literally, and a huge brawl. Huge brawl. This is a time where it's edgy right now. But that edginess comes in when you're not feeling like you're in your alignment with your true heart and your true soul. And it's reactive, because guess what? It's like the stinger comes out now, especially, or the unbalance with the moon in Libra during that weekend. Like I'm unbalanced and squaring Saturn and Pluto, and I feel like I'm being locked away. This is not where I want to be, and people react. Mars is in Leo, and it was quincunxing that Saturn-Pluto. It was like, this is jail down there. I don't want to be in that. But then other people are like, I'm in the jail. I will break out. I will do whatever, because they get lost into this energy because they're not living in that true sense of heart. They're like living in a false sense. That's what Saturn and Pluto in the South Node is. Because even though they're there, they haven't conjuncted yet. So that means we're still in the Libra story. Relationships. And I even said, and I've been saying this for a long time, and I've probably put it out there more than any other astrologer in the fucking world, that this whole 2020 thing is about what relationships you choose coming into it. Straight up. And so the fact that this is the Sun-Venus week coming up here, and you have to remember that Venus is also getting ready to meet with Mars, and then the Sun is going to meet with Mars as well. So we're going to have the Sun, Venus, Mars, and Mars, Venus all here in this next month. This is going to be intense. This is potency with all this energy in their home signs. We're not going to see this again in our lives, folks, especially this yod that's forming. I can't wait to show you that. But All I'm trying to say is this is edgy, this is potent. This moon in Scorpio wants to connect. This moon in Scorpio is being activated by its home sign of Pluto. It's being activated by Saturn. It's being activated over here by the South Node. It's being activated by the North Node. It's being activated by Mercury. And it is also being squared by an intense, fiery, fueled up energy. Woo! It reminds me of being on the top of the pyramids when I was in Egypt. Like, ah! And if you can't step into that in your life in a positive direction and spread light and spread positivity and connect with love and with Jupiter, the biggest planet in its home sign of all these opportunities, are you in this higher vibration of seeing that, or are you just down in the gutter because you're realizing that you are still attached to something that is in the gutter? And I know that just hit you because I know that's your issue right now. So when you're not happy, when you're wondering why this energy is so shitty or it doesn't feel good, what is he talking about? It feels like shit right now. You don't know how to be happy in your own way, and you've got some sort of rule, you've got some sort of connection, you've got some sort of relationship possibly, you've got some sort of project you hate, whatever it is, you are connected to something still, or even a past situation that you are still connected to that you can't fully let go. You don't know how to let it go yet. You're just like, no, I'm gonna, oh, and it's emotional. So guess what? This is a time where, emotions are heavy. North Node, Cancer, Mercury retrograde that just finished in Cancer and it's still in shadow. And guess what? Mercury's coming into Leo this weekend and we're gonna get out of the shadow soon. But, this main part too is this is kind of the deep finishing up of the true test of heart. Because Mars at 23 degrees here on Wednesday is headed towards, in the next week and a half here, to 28. Where remember, at 28 degrees is where the total solar eclipse happened on August 21st of 2017. And Mars will be able to finally cut that energy off and identify if you knew how to live in your heart over the last 2 years of that cycle. And with the Mars retrograde of 2018, brought you farthest away from that. And in many ways, the ultimate heart test has been to take you as far away as you can from your heart and see if you know how to come back to it. And the attachments right now that are like alien babies or aliens, because if you watch Alien, you'll understand what an alien baby is attachments to things that are making it feel shittier than fuck, because right now the heart is wide open. And it's teaching you how to keep that heart wide open. And anything that is not of that heart or anything that is not there, why are you even keeping that in your field? Why even still going back to that? So that's the spot I want to hit between your head today, children. All right. Thursday, August 8th. Got the moon coming into Sagittarius to add to the fire. So here's Jupiter really slow, okay? Not moving at all right? Like we're talking the biggest planet is not moving. The moon comes into Sagittarius and it is fired up. It's ready to go. It's ready to connect with all this Leo energy. Sun and Venus still going, right? They're getting closer and closer. Mars, now 24, woo! You're getting closer to that 28. It's coming on. There's no more quincunx there. But we do have a yod forming, right? We got Neptune, and we do got Saturn. So you can use that sextile within 3-degree orb. It's literally right there. But we are coming into where this finger of God is hitting us, okay? At this Sun-Venus. Relationships are a big one. That's Libra's ruler. We are in a 6-month cycle since the eclipses until, bam, Saturn-Pluto meet. That is the finalization of the last Saturn-Pluto conjunction of right there, 82-83, that has taken the it's a 33-year cycle, but it's really a 37 in this case to really get to here. That's how far it took for them to meet there. Saturn, remember, went through a whole cycle and then went back into Libra. And why do you think that relationships and everything got really crazy in 2012? Because that was the end of Saturn Libra and it crossed over the Pluto zone, and then it went into where the Pluto zone of Scorpio was, and it went through the Pluto zone of Sag, and now it's going to finally pass Pluto next year. Does that make sense? I know that may be way beyond so many people's heads, but that's what you need to understand. There is a great promised land coming in your life, and you can go hold yourself back right now and just go through hell, and then at the end of this year be like, God, I should have just listened to the fucking Leo King. Because this is a great time. August 9th, Friday, this is where we're going to start getting some big stuff. This is where this moon in Sag is going to trine Venus, as Venus and Jupiter are trine. And that was also through yesterday, so that's also why I brought up relationships, a big deal. Like, it's like Venus trine Jupiter. I mean, come on, like, are you opening up the doors to what your heart really wants? Are you, with Venus quincunxy over to Saturn-Pluto, like, are you like literally living in a lie, like an old person's lie? That's not even an old person that's alive today. Like an old person that's probably doesn't even have, or especially because it is Capricorn, it could be like an old person that like had some sort of power and control and weird power and control and set their own ideas out there into the world that you're living by. That's not even part of today's world. So, good luck. And then the moon, as it meets with Jupiter, is going to trine over to Venus, which is beautiful. This is the benefics coming together with the sun. And even though there's this yod, you can see that yod, bang, bang, boom, with the south node and the sun. There is this sun-south node energy. And I think this sun-south node quincunx day, with all this energy that you're going to see here on the 9th, is going to be pretty major, about a major door opening with the moon crossing Jupiter on its last time retrograde in Sag for the next, well, I think it's 11 years. So, it's a long time. And at the other token of this, we've got Neptune square. Now, this Neptune square has been really weird, but it is at a point where the Sun and Neptune now are making their quincunx, right? So that's creating that yod even more intense because this is pretty activated exact almost, coming when we come to 18 degrees. And you have to see that then the moon's going to square over to this Neptune. So there's a lot going on in every direction. But the main thing is Neptune is trying to understand the beauty and the imagination of the heart by learning that we should let go of anything that is sucking from us, anything that is truly taking from us, anything that is, truly not of who we are. That is that one thing that we're still holding on to. With Uranus coming retrograde, and Jupiter coming direct this weekend, the whole world's going to shift. And it's how we set ourselves up to this point. So this is the red zone, because this is where God is opening up, as they say, parting the Red Sea. This is the sea parting to get through all the crap we've been through. When you realize that it was crap you put yourself through, that you just kept trying to hold on to, trying to fix, that was farthest away from your heart. And people are going to buy the delusion that it's all okay and stay asleep, child, stay asleep. Like a hypnotist. Stay asleep. And it's easy to right now numb yourself out and go to sleep. If you are not ready to step into the courage, that is not emotional. Leo is not emotional. Sure, it's dramatic, but it uses drama to get through and continue to laugh at, I have to stay on all the time in this reality for 5 billion plus years. Oh man, and love myself. But people will love me back and then they'll kind of hate me. Oh, okay. I guess I'll take that deal. The sun is not emotional what happens with the planets, whether the planets decide to go backwards farther or come closer to it. It's like, I'm just going to stay who I am in my light. I'm going to own that. I'm going to be that. And everything can judge itself based off that. And if you see Mercury here at 28 degrees, yeah, we're coming to the end of this Mercury in Cancer, which has been very emotional. And so people at this red zone here with these doors opening, the benefics, the Sun-Venus, the big yod to Sun-Venus, this is going to be, if you are thinking logical and if you are able to get out of the emotional realm and actually use your emotions towards something positive into creating the doorway to the ultimate world and letting go of this crazy, neurotic attachment to something that probably doesn't even make sense in your life. Even it might not even be in your life anymore. So you might be like, well, I've already moved on, or I already got rid of that energy and that project, that relationship, or that situation, but there's still some sort of attachment. So it's like snip, or you're like, oh my gosh, like the eclipse has happened, it revealed all this truth, and I was too afraid to do it. So here's the red zone. You're in the same ballpark as everybody, because even though people that made it through the eclipses and finally did that work, here's a red zone of like actually like, okay, purge it, and move into your ultimate light. So when people are saying, man, I can't believe this positive energy is around, it's fucking positive everywhere. But everybody right now is coming into a positive zone, which is very charged up. And guess what? All the fucking shit you're attached to, that doesn't make sense. It's not working. It's fucking coming up right now. It's my new song. Somebody tried to tell me on my freaking Facebook the other day that dance music, like electronic music, is not music. And after putting up like a memory of like some show about love and creation, that's just energy that you just got to be like, okay, whatever. All right, August 10th. The prime red zone. This is the last day of the red zone. Just gonna say it. Reason why, look at, out of nowhere, wait, I thought the sun was a couple degrees off. No, sun and Venus are at 17 now. And what is that sun and Venus doing? They are making that yod very strong to the south node with Neptune, which is, look at that, 1805, 1757. They're gonna in conjunct that exact day. Okay, there's the yod. Here's the moon, trine Mars. You have the courage to take action. Here are the doorways. So the moon is not going void off course at that moment because it does have Mars, but after it does have Mars, it kind of does go void off course, so I'll be honest with you. It does make a quincunx to Mercury, but you know, sometimes some people don't count void off course moons with like minor aspects, but I do. I mean, I think it's not void off course. There is a Mercury quincunx there at the last degrees. This is the galactic center as well. And so there's this galactic center that Mars is trining as we come into this red zone. Ending. The reason why it's the ending, this is the last day of Jupiter retro. This is the last day of Uranus direct. And so you either raise to the high vibrations of the best life that you can and set yourself up and know that you did that, and get ready for the journey as Jupiter is going to come direct, and Jupiter loves an adventure, and just remember the trumpets, burp, 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 and this is very judgment card like in tarot, like it is. Like I'll even show you, motherfucking, what judgment card in tarot looks like. Judgment, tarot. So here's your red zone image for you to imprint and put this on the back of your phone. I dare you to put this on your phone for this week. Are you raising to the calling from the universe? That trumpet blowing is very Jupiterian. But this rising up through these coffins, which ironically are in water or in the clouds, which is pretty crazy too. And these people are like lifeless in many ways. But they're getting life through rising to a higher calling. And God is not judging them per se. I guess you could say it's like, but you could say that, but it's really like, it's a judgment within yourself of whether you're going to rise to the calling of your true godly purpose, which is to be a happy and loving and truthful light being in this world, and be a good person and do the right thing and feel love, and to do that and to not be a dead looking, ugly, naked, gray person. Which is so funny that we created the first like movies of aliens looking gray. Well, guess what? maybe you might turn into an alien, because what is an alien? Somebody that is not connected at all to anything and doesn't even understand itself, and nobody understands it, and doesn't have any kind of emotion, feeling, or anything. And so the Judgment card is very intense in tarot, because it comes at times of red zones when, I mean, there's way too much going on here. Mercury's on the last degree. I mean, if I were just to move the chart, like another couple minutes, Mercury goes to the 29th degree. Then you get, then you get the Sun exactly in conjunct over to Neptune. You get the Sun finishing its, quincunx over here to the South Node. You get Venus now in the middle of that, and the yacht is pointing to Sun Venus. And Jupiter is on the last day, ready to turn on that trumpet calling. Uranus, it's like, it's time to have you risen? Are you listening to it? The trumpet's going to call, and then Uranus goes backwards. It'll be like, okay, the trumpet blew. These are the people that showed up. These are the people that broke free. These are the people that moved into their highest vibrational energy, and they know it. Because this ain't coming around anymore, folks. Because the rest of this 5-month cycle, so I just want to put this out now that on Friday morning, Craig and I, before we go to my race, we are recording a video that's going to be deep astrology style, where I'm going to cover the Sun-Venus conjunction. That's next week. I'm going to cover the Venus-Mars and the Sun-Mars, and how what we do over this next month and these aspects from now, and what you picked after the red zone. I will play it like a playbook like this. I will literally play it down the line, and I'll be like, if you made the right choice of your heart, or if you were scared. And I will lay down all the things that are going to happen from the seed points that are coming here in the next month. That is amazing during this harvest time. I told everybody for this last deep astrology that we did last week and everything, this next 6 weeks is the best 6 weeks of the whole year before we come into craziness. The most craziest alignments of our life. You can feel the energies around and it's good. So I'm trying to tell you that the judgment's here from the universe of what you're going to do or not, and you better not play around with it. Because here's Sunday, which I should have done a little later. I could do it real quick, but okay, look at this. Finally, Jupiter is direct. Oh my gosh, thank God. I remember I used to watch Jupiter in the sky in 2012. Oh no, it was 2013 with my old roommate Tyler. And remember that Jupiter every year moves another month. So like, it's weird to get Jupiter direct in the middle of the summer. Like if you actually think about the beginning of this decade, Jupiter direct was like in the late winter. So it was like, yeah, coming into summer with Jupiter direct and having it direct all the way through the year. But no, this is like, what the fuck was this last, like 3 months, 4 months, like what? Especially when it's in its own sign. So Jupiter direct is huge. Things start to figure itself out. We start to open up understandings. And, look at that Sun-Venus, 18 degrees. How ironic that the last time the sun met at 18 degrees last year was the solar eclipse. Now we have Venus not eclipsing the sun, though. So we can't say that it's eclipsing, but it is interesting that there is these benefic energies that are truly, life-bringing, that are trying to bring life to what happened last year when Mars was retrograde, and we did have an eclipse on August 12th of last year. Now this is happening on August 11th. We are that off on the time. Isn't that interesting? Look at this, Mercury in Leo, 1 degree. It's out of Cancer now. So this is very exciting. It's not about emotion anymore. Sorry, there's nothing left there in Cancer. Just an invisible north node of a dragon's head that's just sitting there chomping away at trying to figure out how to be more emotional and trying to chomp out into a hungry hippo, to find your true emotional self. A hungry hippo. Man, I can't believe that one came up. And there's Mars trining that galactic center. It's going to come to 26 later that night. I'll show you in a second here. But the big thing is the red zone's over. You made your choice because now you are deep into the edge of the cliff. Why? Or you made it onto your truth because Moon is coming into the occulting of Saturn, South Node, and Pluto, and it's in Capricorn. And the Moon is going to charge Uranus one last time as it's direct, but then it's past that. And by the end of Sunday night, I think it's 7:26 p.m. Where is this? Here. Oh yeah, here we can just do this days. Oh yeah, there we go. And then we can just do hours. Okay, and all right, here we are. All right. I think it's 7. Oh, there it is. I was right, 7:26. So it's 7:26 p.m. Pacific time. Here's the sun at 19. It's off the degree of where the eclipse was last year. Mars is at 26. Guess what? That's trining the galactic center exactly at 26. Uranus at 6 is done. Retrograde, not going any farther till next year where it'll come to 10 degrees of Taurus. Okay? The other aspect here too is now we have all the outer planets retrograde. Have you thought about that one for a second? Like, have you been like, wait, all outer planets are retrograde? Yeah. You want to say that this reality is a simulation? Very much so. Having all the planets that are outer retrograde definitely are dealing with, did you just set yourself up into your subconscious traps, or did you free yourself from them? And what karma do you reap from that? And now the moon is in detriment on top of Saturn. So there is, the red zone's over. The moon is going to occult Saturn. And what is it going to do? It's going to set, literally, the energy. Like concrete it. Like, these are the people on the bus, these are the people on the cliff, like whatever. And what's interesting to me is, at that moment, and plus the moon, even though it does charge up Uranus, it gets squared by Chiron, which is kind of like people kind of being like, you do have a last minute, this might be like your ego that's trying to make these choices, like don't do that. Like follow your heart. Heart and ego are way different. And Mercury in Leo is happy, but Mercury of course is coming into, you know, the exit of its shadow period. But now we got Venus and more importantly, the Sun, which are still coming back together, but they are charging closer to Mars, okay? That Mars-Venus is getting close. So here I will show you now, Monday. And now we're at a very important day, because the moon does come through the occult. So the moon crosses over and hides, you know, Pluto. And so you can't see Pluto, though. It's way far back, right? But it is an interesting contradiction, though, of the moon crossing over this and kind of setting into this as this yod to Sun and Venus is still going on. And it's like now it's with Pluto and the occultation connecting with Neptune, if you want to use that. Or you can use the South Node still, which is very kind of dark energy, right? It's like hidden or suppressed energy about what are you going into something beautiful, or are you going into something that, or did you go backwards? Especially with now Uranus going backwards, and with Jupiter coming forward, it's like, here's the greatest story ever told, or quite possibly the story that you missed out on completely, and you are just going to play the old story again. I know that might sound crazy, but there's a lot of truth to that, and you can feel it. This isn't just throwing out some pasta onto the wall and see if it sticks. Like, you can feel it. And I'm going to show you right now with this helio chart. Why? First, I want to show you the beginning of this week with the helio. So if you don't understand helio-based astrology, heliocentric means that we are putting the sun at the center of the charts, okay? So imagine this is the sun, okay? Now, you might be wondering, wow, Jupiter's at 24 degrees. No planets retrograde in helio astrology, okay? I think what's interesting is here's Pluto at 22 degrees. It just got in here. So we, like, this whole time, even though Pluto went to 23 from Earth's point of view, here's Earth, by the way, at 14 degrees of Aquarius from the sun's point of view, because from Earth's point of view, remember that the sun is coming from this direction and looking at the constellation of Leo in tropical, okay? So that's how we see it. As from Earth, we see the sun, and we see in tropical understanding from the ecliptic, the Leo zone. But really, we're looking at it from here, which actually, it's not saying that the Earth is in Aquarius, but the sun is actually can be looking from either side, but is looking at Earth from the Aquarian point of view, which is kind of crazy. But what's interesting to me is Mercury is on Chiron to start this week off. So you want to talk about a red zone? Oh yeah, you better start using your mind, and you better start thinking. If you thought you got this whole thing figured out, no. You need to purge what is not truly of your identity anymore and be clear about that. Mercury in Aries wants to be clear, and it's running into Chiron and having to deal with very hard truths that are not going to, they're going to be healing if you actually accept them, but if you don't accept them, no cigar. Another interesting aspect too is here's Mars 28 degrees of Leo coming on to where that Regulus zone is at the beginning of this week. And so as we see Venus, so this is the sun right here, this is Venus back here. So if we were in a retrograde, it'd be different. You'd see it in a different way. And I'm going to show you in a 3D model here. But ironically enough, the understanding that Jupiter went retrograde at 24 degrees in Geo. And here it finally is at the point where it is coming direct is because now as Earth has been so close to Jupiter, we are now coming into a position in where we are from Earth's standpoint that Jupiter is moving forward in our point of view from where we were at. Because if you actually think about it, every month that we were in Cancer, here was the Earth from the Sun's point of view with Pluto and Saturn during those eclipses. And then when we were in Gemini, that was like the peak when Jupiter and the Sun did their retrograde, because opposition point. That was the closest point of Jupiter. Okay, so that zone now has gotten far enough to where it looks like now Jupiter's coming forward from Earth's point of view, but this is the Helio point of view. So we start the week with Mercury Chiron, but what I want to show you is why the red zone is on the 12th, because even in the Helio it does, which kind of blows my mind, because if you actually see how fast Mercury moves this week, is Mercury was on Chiron, now it's all the way on Uranus. It jumped 30 degrees. So that's one thing about helioastrology that blows my mind the most is from the sun's point of view, you gotta remember, Mercury is 88 days around the sun. So that means when it goes around a helio chart, it's every 88 days it will hit an exact spot. It will hit Taurus, it'll hit Uranus every 88 days. So that's how fast Mercury goes. Where do you think a lot of the understandings of even understanding the mythology and the understanding of all the alchemy, or why Hermeticism is so important to understand astrology, is, of course, the fastest planet, the one planet that can go through the whole zodiac and understand everything faster than any other planet. Because, like good example is Pluto, right? This is a 248-year cycle, so that's too long. That's why the Pluto is not the ruler of astrology. Or even, and I would battle modern astrologers when it comes to Uranus being the ruler of astrology, is that is an 84-year cycle around the sun. So, but you can argue that at 84 years old you might become a master and you truly understand everything. And that's also almost in coincidence with your third Saturn return getting ready. But I believe that Mercury is, I'm old school and I'm Hermetic, and this is an exact conjunction to Uranus. So we go from, at the beginning of the week, Mercury and Helio on Chiron, then we go Mercury, Uranus to end the week. I'm not lying, it's right here, August 12th, 2019, Helio chart. Okay? And so this is like your break point, or not. Mercury is the whole understanding of this reality, your environment, the world that we live in, the understanding of it, and whether or not you are breaking free into a better world, or you are going backwards into one, because from Earth's point of view, it's going backwards, or from the sun's point of view too. It's like looking at from Earth, it's like, oh yeah, look at Mercury there. As it's passing Uranus, like, oh, those people on Earth, are they really doing that? Or are they going backwards? As Mercury's going way forward. Even though it's funny that here comes Mercury coming out of its retrograde and its shadow zone, and Mercury flying fast. That means it's going to be super fucking fast here through Taurus and coming into its home sign of Gemini as we come into next week. all this crazy energy that's going to be coming on. That's when Mercury starts flying so fast, and then what happens is it starts to kind of slow down from where Earth is, and then we have to see the retrograde because it comes around to so fast of a point to where it looks like a retrograde. The other interesting aspect is Mars is conjunct exactly to Regulus in Helio, okay? But again, this is Earth-based looking geo, looking at the position of the fixed stars. But I will just say that there is some kind of interesting element, Mars moving into Virgo to clean up your life and create this new reality during these shifts on Earth. But in Helio, Mars is in Virgo now, like ready to move forward. And Venus and the Sun are coming into their conjunction, and here is Venus and Earth in opposition with the Sun, and that's where we're getting that point. And I'm going to show one last thing here. I'm giving you guys all I got because this is like red zone, and I'm trying to help everybody out. I don't think we need a cat-friendly apartment anymore. That was almost 9 months ago. That's how much I don't use this. So let's do this. Let's do for every second, let's do 12 hours, and let's roll. All right. So here's the Sun, okay? And what is that? There's Mercury, Venus, right? They're very close to each other. Mercury's faster though, right? So we are going to see, when you kind of tilt this thing around here, Mercury ain't going to catch up with Venus anytime soon. Know what I mean? 2, here's the Earth. So the Sun is aligning in a position to where Earth, the Sun is between Earth and Venus opposition point. That is what's creating, from Earth's point of view, the Venus behind the Sun. If it was a retrograde, Venus would be right here where I'm trying to show you, and it would be Cassini point getting burned out. The Sun would be burning Venus to the Earth with its rays. Retrogrades are when the planet is closest to Earth. That's how you understand a retrograde, okay? So Mercury retrograde is when Mercury comes in front of the Sun and is the closest to wherever it's closest to Earth. And if you see Mars this year, we don't see Mars because from Earth's point of view, every time we look up in the day, there's Mars behind the Sun. So we're the farthest away from Mars. So that's why we don't see Mars. We're not seeing Mars at all in the sky. The other thing I want to show you all is the understanding of now Jupiter with the direct motion, and how if you kind of look at this, and I wish that this did a little bit better of a job, but you can kind of see from an interesting aspect. So that would be, in Earth's point of view, this great trine between the Sun and Jupiter from Earth's point of view, okay? But you could also see that behind Jupiter is going to be Saturn, where the weird quincunx would be from Earth's point of view. So you can see how Jupiter and Saturn are meeting here next year. That's how close they are, right? So they're getting very close. That's why this is so intense. And watch Pluto. Oh, yeah, there it is, baby. Look at that alignment. Never in our lives have we seen anything like that. So is it true? And there's the Pluto-Uranus, square that was happening. Now it's coming into a different vibe. I don't know if they show Chiron here. They don't. And here's Neptune kind of in its high position, ironically enough, in orbit in Pisces, where it's got its best look. Why is it ruled by Pisces? It's God's got its eye on the world right now. So, Lil Kermit, I guess I'm going to end with this, just saying, this is not about fear, okay? So, let's just erase that. This is from love. People are triggered by truth. It's just the reality today. And I put up a video this week, about responsibility with astrology. And, as I put this stuff out there, like I have to probably put out a warning to people that, you better be prepared emotionally for the stuff I'm going to tell you because it's going to be truth. I mean, I I will break you down with all the aspects, and I will break you down in other viewpoints. I will use astronomy. I will use a heliochart. I will use geocharts. I will use it all to get the most information for people. And it will bring out a deep truth. And I'm telling you that we are at a point, and I had to literally visually show you that this is the red zone. This is your last moment. And a lot of people, I'm going to be very honest with you, are not ready. They're not ready for this time. They're not ready for this moment. They're not ready to do what's called. And you know what? That's kind of like where this is going to trigger people. And I'm a Leo, and I'm going to put it out there with all this Leo energy. And this is going to be one of my last transmissions with all this Leo and Jupiter in its home sign of Sag and dignified position in these very intense, dignified aspects. And next week, I don't think you all are ready when this red zones ends and Sun, Venus come together and exactly quincunx Pluto. What happened when Mars was just there was what happened on the weekend. Now we're going to have it with Venus and the Sun. So I'm just trying to tell you all that, like, you know, some people aren't ready for the full light work this life. They're not ready for the old karmic attachments. That's South Node Saturn. Are you just going to continue keeping the old karmic stories going? For real? Because all the energy is great, and it's ready, and it's like, yeah, let's get you out of all this. But like everybody's on this planet right now is just, you know, if unpredictable things happen or things have broken apart or things didn't work out, it's like instead of stepping into the responsibility and the integrity of owning that this is wonderful, whatever happened is God's view of opening up a beautiful, parting the sea for, you know, you. But so many people don't have the courage, and that's why they're not written about. And only certain people get written about. That's why in certain stories there's main characters and everybody else is in the background. And that's a very fundamental hermetic truth about why Leo is a star. And not everybody becomes a star. Not everybody wants to be a star. And I'm here to help create high vibrational people that want to be stars. And so these astrology reports are for those people. But if you're not ready, I understand, and there is no judgment. Although I do believe that this is the judgment of a higher calling for anybody that calls himself a light worker or a spiritual leader or anybody that is here to take everybody into a better reality and realm. Yes. But if you're one of those people that don't want to look at this stuff, don't want to see it, don't want to apply it, don't want to do it, that's fine. There's a really big sheep herd walking into a fucking fence right now with a Saturn creepy motherfucker with a weird crooked fucking like weird like decrepit like fucking, what do you call it, like staff going, get on in there, little sheep. And I'm trying to tell you right now, you can see that dude. But so many people are going to emotionally suppress and go, well, is anybody else going out there? It's like, where's Babe when you need Babe? It's a movie reference to a beautiful pig that herded sheep. But this is where Babe comes out. And believe it or not, stars are Babe. They're not celebrities the way we think of it. They're not, you know, and they can come in that way, or they can come in amazing motivational speakers or JFK or anything like that. They can, definitely. But during a period like this, it's Babe that comes and knows how to talk to the sheep and have them listen. Remember, the sheep didn't want to deal with a pig. They didn't like to deal with the dog, the sheep, the sheep herder, what kind of dogs are those? The sheep dogs. And this is it, because we are in seeding energy after this. And you will reap what you sow. You will seed what you seed during these moments coming up here. And with the eclipse, this is the last of the Leo. This is the last of the great Leo season that you will get. Because 2 years from now with Mars, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry to say, you're not going to see Sun Venus like this. Remember, Venus retrogrades in Gemini. So we're going to get Sun Venus in Gemini next year. And it's going to be with quincunxes over to Saturn-Pluto, mainly Pluto. But I'm just trying to, you know, and South Node and Jupiter, like, I'm just trying to show you all that this is the moment, you know? So that's all I have for today. We are going to do After Dark after this, so stay tuned here on YouTube, and of course check out highvibe.tv, and especially if you want to get free content. We got so much free content now. Kim is awesome. She's doing an awesome art thing where you can really start to find that courage. If you're having trouble finding that courage to make a move maybe in your personal life, whether it's a business, a relationship, or anything, like watch Kim for free on HiVibe. We have an app too, and you can swipe up on it and literally keep listening if you don't want to watch, like YouTube Premium is. But I'm just here to tell you that like sometimes it's like doing little things to find that courage. Like, have you ever really painted before? Have you ever really drawn? That's a good way. Maybe if somebody that you are a painter already, you've proven that to yourself. But where can you apply that really in the areas that really need to get you away from this creepy sheep herder that is creepy, I'm sorry to say. And Pluto is trying to make him look real good. And watch how that's going to be a political aspect coming up in the 2020s. Whoever looks the most polished, the most perfect with Mercury, Pluto, Saturn, South Node, and the Sun on January 10th through 12th is not what it seems. And South Node Jupiter exact. Just remember that. And that will be the sheep herder. Or as many call, a lot of people think there's a second coming of the higher energies, but would that be counteracted with the second coming of the darker one? And usually in any hero's journey, the hero is called once the darker one arrives first. Do you want to be saved? Or do you want to be in the hero's position? I love you all. I wish you well. Please share this video and get it out to as many people as you can. And I will see you on the next Deep Astrology and see you on highvibe.tv.